It's been leaked. A secret document filed by Universal has just blown the doors wide open on Nintendo's next massive movie project, and it's all about a certain tie-wearing, banana-hoarding gorilla. That's right, a brand new Donkey Kong movie is officially in the works, even if Nintendo hasn't said a single word about it yet. We are living in a wild time for video game adaptations, and this latest revelation is one of the biggest yet.
So how did this leak happen, and what does it mean for the burgeoning Nintendo cinematic universe? Today, we are diving deep into the secret copyright filing that confirms the film's existence. We'll break down why Nintendo, a company that swore off Hollywood for decades, is now suddenly all in on making movies. And we'll connect the dots to figure out exactly when we can expect the official show-stopping announcement.
This is the story of how a gaming icon is about to get his own blockbuster movie, so you are not going to want to miss a single detail. The age of video game movies is no longer coming. It is here, and Nintendo is planting its flag firmly at the summit. The story begins with a seemingly boring piece of paperwork, a copyright filing. But this isn't just any filing. This document, unearthed recently, lists a new project co-owned by two gigantic names, Universal and Nintendo Pictures. And the title, while currently listed as Untitled Donkey Kong Project, leaves absolutely nothing to the imagination. This isn't a rumor from a shadowy online forum. This isn't insider speculation. A copyright filing is a necessary legal step that companies take when a project is real, when it has moved from the idea phase into active development. It's a move made to protect their intellectual property, and in doing so, they've given the whole world a sneak peek at their next big play. The fact that both Universal, the studio behind the Despicable Me franchise and Jurassic World, and Nintendo Pictures, Nintendo's own fledgling animation studio, are on the filing together confirms this is a major, top-tier production. It's happening. The King of the Jungle is getting his own movie. But to truly understand why this is such a monumental piece of news, we have to travel back in time. For years, for decades even, the name Nintendo was synonymous with incredible games and an almost allergic aversion to Hollywood. And it all stems from the catastrophic failure of the 1993 live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie. That film is widely, and rightfully, regarded as one of the worst video game adaptations ever conceived. It was a dark, bizarre, post-apocalyptic take on the vibrant Mushroom Kingdom, starring Bob Hoskins, who famously called the production a nightmare. It was a film that seemed ashamed of its source material, and it bombed spectacularly at the box office. That failure was a deep stain on Nintendo's pristine reputation. It was a public humiliation that followed the company for years, and the executives in Kyoto seemingly made a vow: never again. They retreated back into their world of game development, focusing solely on creating interactive masterpieces and fiercely guarding their beloved characters from the clutches of Hollywood producers who just didn't understand. For 30 years, that vow held strong. But then, something changed. The code was cracked. The problem wasn't just Nintendo's bad experience. The entire industry was littered with the corpses of failed adaptations. Films like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat Annihilation in the 90s were cautionary tales. They proved that simply slapping a popular name onto a generic movie wasn't enough. The code that was eventually cracked was simple: authenticity and love for the source material. Films like Detective Pikachu and Sonic the Hedgehog and shows like The Last of Us finally started to succeed because they were made by people who clearly understood and respected the games. And so, Nintendo decided to dip its toe back into the cinematic water, but this time, they would do it on their terms. The result was 2023's The Super Mario Bros. Movie, an animated spectacle made in partnership with animation powerhouse Illumination. The film was a vibrant, joyful, and faithful celebration of everything fans loved about Mario. And the world responded in a way that no one could have fully predicted. The film didn't just succeed, it obliterated expectations, soaring past the $1 billion mark at the global box office. It was a colossal hit, especially with families and younger audiences, proving that there was a massive, untapped hunger for Nintendo stories on the big screen. The critical response might have been mixed, but the audience score and the sheer amount of money it made sent a clear message. The curse was broken. Suddenly, the floodgates opened. Nintendo announced not one, but two more major film projects: a direct sequel to the Super Mario Bros. Movie, set to continue the adventures of Mario and Luigi, and, even more shockingly, a live-action Legend of Zelda movie, a project fans have dreamed about for generations. Now, with this Donkey Kong leak, the strategy is crystal clear. Nintendo is no longer just a video game company. It is building a multi-pronged media empire, a cinematic universe to rival the biggest in the business. And Donkey Kong, who already stole scenes with a hilarious performance by Seth Rogen in the Mario movie, is the next logical character to get the solo spotlight. The timing of this leak is almost too perfect to be a coincidence, which brings us to the most exciting part: the inevitable announcement. The leak mentions that a new game, titled Donkey Kong Bonanza, is slated to release for the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 console on July 17th. A brand new mainline Donkey Kong game for a brand new Nintendo console is a massive event in its own right. What better way to build maximum hype than to announce a major motion picture at the same time? The synergy is undeniable. This points towards one thing: a Nintendo Direct presentation is imminent. For fans, these digital showcases are like our Super Bowl. It's where the company reveals its biggest upcoming projects. Nintendo hasn't hosted a proper, full-scale Direct since the launch of the Switch 2, and the community is buzzing with anticipation. Imagine the scene. The presentation is drawing to a close, the host is about to sign off, and then the iconic words appear on screen: "One more thing." The screen fades to black, and we hear the familiar jungle drums. Followed by that iconic Donkey Kong roar, the internet would absolutely explode. The timing, the new game, the established presence in the Mario movie, it all lines up for a reveal that will shake the gaming and movie worlds. The excitement is palpable, and if you're as hyped as I am for a new Nintendo Direct and this movie announcement, do me a favor and smash that like button to let me know. It truly helps the channel more than you know. So, what will this movie actually be? The copyright listing calls it untitled, which suggests it's still a ways out from release. The Super Mario Bros. Movie sequel is scheduled for next spring, and the Zelda film is targeting a May 2027 release. The Donkey Kong movie will likely fall somewhere after the Mario sequel. Given his appearance in the Mario movie and Illumination's successful partnership with Nintendo, it is almost certain that this will be another high-budget animated film. And that brings us to the cast. Seth Rogen voiced Donkey Kong in the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and it's incredibly likely he would reprise his role. His portrayal, which leaned into a more egotistical, modern comedic personality, was a highlight for many viewers, and it would make perfect sense for him to carry that persona into a standalone film. But a Donkey Kong movie needs more than just Donkey Kong. This is where the speculation gets really fun. This film has the potential to be a full-blown adaptation of the legendary Donkey Kong Country games from the Super Nintendo era. That means we could see the entire Kong family on the big screen. We could get Diddy Kong, his loyal jetpack-wearing sidekick, perhaps as a young upstart trying to live up to Donkey Kong's reputation. We could see Cranky Kong, the original Donkey Kong from the arcade games, return as a grumpy but wise mentor, constantly complaining about how things were tougher in his day. This dynamic alone, the brash hero, the eager sidekick, and the cantankerous old-timer, is comedic gold. And then there are others, like the effortlessly cool, surfboard-toting Funky Kong or the helicopter-haired Dixie Kong, who could expand the family dynamic. The heart of any great story is a great villain, and Donkey Kong has one of the best, the comically inept but persistently menacing King K. Rool and his army of Kremlings. A feature film would be the perfect medium to bring this iconic rivalry to life, a grand adventure to protect the precious banana horde from K. Rool's clutches. They could even draw from his various personas in the games, introducing him as a pirate captain in one film and a mad scientist in another, making him a versatile and recurring threat. The story could be a classic jungle adventure epic, a hilarious buddy comedy between DK and Diddy, or even a surprisingly emotional tale about family and legacy. Imagine a plot where Donkey Kong has to prove he's worthy of the name under the watchful, critical eye of Cranky Kong. The visual potential is immense, from high-speed minecart chases to swinging through dense jungles and exploring underwater caverns. And the music! The Donkey Kong Country series, particularly the original trilogy scored by the legendary David Wise, is famous for having some of the most beautiful and atmospheric video game music ever composed. The film score would have to incorporate those legendary themes. Imagine hearing a full orchestral version of Jungle Japes during a thrilling action sequence, or the hauntingly beautiful ambient tones of Stickerbush Symphony during a quiet, reflective moment. The music of these games told a story all on its own, and bringing that to the big screen is a must. And of course, there's the elephant in the room, or rather, the gorilla in the room, the DK rap. Will they dare to bring back the infamously cheesy but beloved rap from Donkey Kong 64? With Seth Rogen at the helm, a modern comedic take on the rap feels not just possible, but almost inevitable. This single leak represents a massive paradigm shift. For years, we were told that the 2000s and 2010s belonged to superhero movies. The Marvel Cinematic Universe changed the way Hollywood operates, building a shared world brick by brick. But it seems increasingly clear that the 2020s and beyond will be the age of the video game adaptation. With this aggressive and exciting slate of films, Nintendo is positioning itself as the potential master of this new era. They are following the Marvel playbook, but with their own characters. Start with solo movies, Mario, now Donkey Kong, establish the world and the heroes, and then, eventually, you can build towards a massive crossover event. Super Smash Bros., anyone? They are sitting on a treasure trove of intellectual property that rivals any comic book publisher. Mario, Zelda, and Donkey Kong are just the beginning. Imagine a gritty, atmospheric Metroid movie in the style of Alien, a high-octane Star Fox space opera, a futuristic racing thriller based on F-Zero. Nintendo has the characters and the world to build a cinematic universe that could captivate audiences for decades, and they're finally taking the leap. We're seeing a massive shift in Hollywood, and we'll be covering every single step of Nintendo's journey into film. If you don't want to miss our future breakdowns of the live-action Zelda movie, the next Mario sequel, or any other surprises they throw our way, make sure you are subscribed to the channel with all notifications turned on. In conclusion, the secret is out. A Donkey Kong movie is coming. It's a direct result of the billion-dollar success of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, a sign of Nintendo's bold new cinematic ambitions, and a project that is likely to be officially announced very, very soon. It will almost certainly be an animated feature, with Seth Rogen likely returning to voice the big guy himself. This is an incredibly exciting time to be a fan of Nintendo and a fan of movies. But now I have to turn the question over to you. What do you want to see in a standalone Donkey Kong film? Do you want a faithful adaptation of Donkey Kong Country or something entirely new? Which characters are an absolute must-see? Let me know all your dream plots, cast ideas, and theories in the comments section below. I cannot wait to read what you